Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance. In this resistance video, sponsored by contribution from Anonymous, and here's her story. Dear Ollie, thank you for your videos. I listen to them often, sometimes daily. You made a video for me on 7/12/17 when you attempt no contact and don't even realize it. Your insight on my situation was helpful to my older son and me. Since then, I started making the time to see a therapist in treatment for alcohol abuse. It's hard to take care of yourself and raise two teenagers and a toddler by yourself in a city where I have no family and very little friends. I didn't say much about my childhood or give you background on my parents in the previous letter. I apologize for taking a long time to write a follow-up letter on my situation. I have always struggled with getting my thoughts in order and expressing them on paper. Honestly, another reason is because I really don't remember much of my childhood. Your videos help remember some things and put things together. I'm 40 years old and I don't know who I am. Both my mother and my stepfather are from Mexico that migrated to the United States illegally, eventually got their citizenship. I was born in the United States. I never met my biological father or even have his real name. My mother would always tell me that we didn't want to hurt my stepfather's feelings because he had raised us ever since I was 2 years old. Both my mother and stepfather came from big families. My stepfather's mother had 21 kids, but only 5 survived. What? What? My stepfather was the eldest and helped raise his siblings because his father was a migrant worker and was always gone. I would have to question right off the bat if he was the oldest of 21 and only 5 of them survived. My mother was the third youngest out of 12 siblings. My grandmother on my mother's side was an orphan and a closeted alcoholic. She was extremely religious and quiet from what I hear. She passed away when my mom was pregnant. I really don't know much about my grandfather because my mother didn't say much about him. The only thing I know is that he molested my mother when she was a child. I cried so much and felt so bad for her when she told me. I think my grandfather lived with us for a short time or was visiting for an extended time from my mother's wedding. I cried so much and I felt so bad for her when she told me. To this day, I can't watch the news because I get really upset when there's news regarding innocent children being hurt or abused by anyone. My mother came to the United States when she was pregnant with me and moved in with my Aunt Laura. Anchor baby. No offense, but that's what she did. My Aunt Laura was the oldest sister who helped all her sisters relocate into the United States. She would help them pay coyotes, someone who smuggles illegals into America, and then arrange a marriage with a citizen, usually a white male, so they can stay in the country legally. Build that wall. Build that wall. No offense, but this just makes my blood boil. I'm sorry. It's not fair to you that your mother did this to you, but wow. I mean, all of my mother's sisters had been married several times and have children by different fathers. They all got their citizenship through marriage. My mother only had me and married twice. The first time was with a Caucasian man while she was pregnant. She put me on his insurance and on his birth certificate. I never met him, but my mother told me he gave me my first name too, and if it wasn't for him taking pictures, there wouldn't be any baby pictures of me. She also told me that he was a gay man and a transsexual. I don't think he was my father, and everyone in my family denies that he was my father. I tried to contact him to see if maybe he can give me some information about my father, but he passed away, so I never spoke to him. My mother recently gave me my biological father's name because I insisted, but I think she gave me a false name because I can't find any info on the internet or public records. Even if my father lived in Mexico, my mother can get my uncle, who used to be a bodyguard for the governor of Baja California and who still works for the government of Mexico, but she won't. Why don't you just call him then? Why? Why don't you call... See, and this is what happens in these third world fucking nations, in these third world fucking cultures, because it's all fuckery. And they cover this shit up. And they sacrifice their own children and sacrifice their own daughters. And it's all about them. Anchor babies, fake marriages. She knows exactly who your father is. I begged her for any of my father's siblings' names so I can try to locate them, but she gets angry and tells me that she doesn't remember. My mother's family has so many secrets and are so dysfunctional, I wouldn't know where to begin. Here's the first thing I would do if I were you. I would get a DNA test on yourself, just to make sure that your mother and father aren't fucking related. Because if there's incest and there's rape and there's molestation and she's bringing your grandfather in, and I hate to say it, but the first thing I would want to do is to make sure that my grandfather's not my father. And I hate to say that to you, but the reality is this is what happened in Mexico and a lot of third world cultures. Period. With the amount of sexual abuse that goes on. Jesus Christ. Well, it would also explain why out of 21 children in your father's side of the family, only 5 of them survived. And it can happen on both sides of the family. 21 children. They fight, they talk crap about each other, they falsify documents, lie on taxes by claiming other people's kids, use priests to get money out of them, etc. My mom's brothers keep their distance except one uncle who appears to stay neutral. Also, only the men got an education and got decent jobs while the women all dropped out. I always thought my mother was the sister who was mistreated, so I never really liked her family and kept my distance from them. My mom would rotate from sibling to sibling, but was really close to 2 of her sisters. Both of those sisters were married to overt narcissists. Now I know why my mom would get into intense argument with her sister's husband one minute and then be best friends with them the next minute. Immediately, she would stop talking to the sister because the husband offended her. It seemed like my mother would rotate my aunts and would pin them against each other because they didn't like each other much. She would do that with me, an only girl cousin around my age. As I am writing this, I'm putting 2 and 2 together and seeing my mother's behavior together and also figuring out everybody's role in my mother's family. One of my mother's favorite sister illegally adopted my cousin's daughter. The cousin is an attractive girl whom my mother's family managed to make her crazy and put her in a mental institution on and off her whole life. When she had her second child, they said she was mentally unstable and took her daughter from her. My cousin's daughter is now over 18 years old and has not met her mother and has no clue who her father is. She grew up believing that my aunt and her husband are her biological parents. My aunt was a 62-year-old woman who had a baby with her under the closet gay husband. These couple always adopt other family member children just to collect taxes. That could be the other reason why she doesn't want you to know who your father is. Because they're just scam artist fucking gypsies. Who sexually abuse, probably molest, probably murder, they do it all. Steal, right? Don't matter. And I guarantee you it's all a big fucking joke to them. Ha ha ha, look how we get over. All of my mother's family drink. In fact, that's all I remember from my childhood is that they would have a huge get-togethers at each other's home, eat gourmet meals, get wasted drunk while the children played in the yard and eat pizza. The weekends were fun because I got to play with my cousins and eat decent food, and my parents gave me attention and seemed like they loved me so much. However, during the week, my stepfather would just sit in his chair, watch TV, and drink his beer. My mother was tired and always had headaches. I spent a lot of time in my room dancing and listening to music. Music was my outlet. I never understood why I didn't like being around my mom or talking to her until now that I know about narcissism. My mother would always have rages, especially when she was drunk. The usual name calling and throwing random objects. My stepfather never defended me, but would defend her if I got out of line. Typical behavior for a BPD and covert narcissist. I remember calling me son of a bitch, hoe, stupid, fat, ugly when I was overweight, and The Walking Dead as early as 8 years old. I think she did earlier than that because I caught her calling my 6-month-old stupid because he spit out his baby food. We moved around a lot, bouncing from one narc herd to another narc herd, living close to my mother's family or living close to my father's family. As a result of moving so much, I had few friends in elementary and junior high. I think my mother was envious of my ability to connect with people and make friends, while her only friends were in her family. I was friendly and outgoing, sort of a class clown. People seemed to like me anywhere I went, but any friends I made were short-lived because we had to move, or she would forbid me to hang out with them. In high school, I had a best friend that my mother tried to sabotage the friendship so bad that she even went as far as hitting her too when she had her rages. I don't know why she remained being my friend even after my mother hit her. I can't believe she hit anyone as someone else's daughter. I can't believe the daughter didn't go home and tell her parents, and her parents didn't do something about it. But I would question, was the friend another illegal Mexican, come from another illegal immigrant family? Because that's how they get you. That's the problem with bringing a bunch of illegal immigrants. And I know they became citizens eventually. But it gives them the excuse to hide. This hiding in the shadows thing gives them an excuse just to be the same abusive third world culture that they left. Right? My parents were never there for me when I needed them or taught me anything. You were right, Ollie. They're only nice to you or there for you when they can gain something from it somehow. I still can't believe parents can be so uncaring. As I'm reading my story, I'm realizing that my story sounds a lot like others on your channel. The story is already long and I haven't even started. My mother would always send me off to live with different relatives when I would get in trouble or she perceived that my life is at danger or I'm going the wrong path. She did it several times. I ran away at 16 years old and stayed with a junior high friend that I kept in touch because I knew I couldn't run to any of my high school friends' house because she knew all of them and would find me right away. The only reason they found me after a week is because my friend's father was concerned and contacted my parents. I got pregnant during that week I ran away. My daughter's father tried to have a relationship with his daughter and me until he came to my house and met with my parents. He started to distance himself and eventually we never heard from him until my daughter contacted him. He said he was incarcerated for a long time and that's why we didn't hear from him. I don't know how true that is because he hasn't made any effort to see his 24-year-old daughter. My stepfather's family appeared to be a lot nicer and seemed to be more normal. My stepfather's younger brother would always flirt with me and even grab my butt and hugged me from behind when I was 15 years old. This same uncle always tried to ask my friends on dates all the time. My uncle was in his late 40s and we were in high school. All this happened when my mother sent me off to live with him. Luckily, he was never home due to work, so things were not that bad. In fact, we lived with him before I was in junior high because I was suspended in junior high for writing a dirty letter to my friend in a joking manner. My friend Wasn't offended or anything, but because it was a Catholic school, that was against school policy, so I got suspended. Academically, I excelled because I was smart, but I would get into trouble because I was a class clown. My mother and uncle hated each other and would get into intense arguments. Most of my stepfather's family disliked my mother because they felt she was using and taking advantage of my father. Probably was. I taught for a long time too, or I thought for a long time too, and would often defend my stepfather. Everyone seemed to think that too and would defend my stepfather. They didn't treat her bad, but occasionally they'd make comments and she would get offended and have a rage. That's when I would get upset at my father's family and try to comfort her. Several of my stepfather's nephews molested me on several occasions. It's the whole family. This is what I'm trying to tell everybody about these cultures. This is what happens. And it's a big goddamn joke. One actually asked me to date him. He wasn't my blood relative, but I still felt weird about it. I've been molested by several cousins on both sides of my parents' family since I was a child. I remember when I was 10 years old, my older cousin would make me take a shower holding her baby, and she would wash her baby and me. I thought it was normal because she was a girl, but now I think about it, I was too old to have a grown woman wash my body parts. That explains why I sweat so much when I take showers. I remember one of my male cousins on my mother's side admitted to me that he had a sexual relationship for months with one of my girl cousins, also on my mother's side of the family. I used to play house with this particular cousin and often touch my body parts. We were kids, so I didn't think anything. I was raped at 12 years old by a family friend that I had a crush on. I think he was 18 years old. My parents were never available, and would have anybody babysit me willing to watch me, especially in their party days. I was scapegoated on both sides of the family. I never had a healthy relationship with any man. I got 4 children with 3 different fathers. I lived with my parents for most of my adult life, and she helped me raise 3 of my children. I know that my children were affected by my family too. I wish I would have known about this dysfunction a lot sooner. I would have never allowed them to get near my children, me, or with my children. I see the difference with my 3-year-old, or maybe it's because this time I actually parent my child completely without being undermined. I worry about my 18-year-old daughter leaning towards narcissism. I hope not, and she will just mature. I am going to end here because this letter is already too long. I will have to continue this in another letter because it gets worse. Thanks for all you do, Ollie. The first thing I would do, and I think your mother's hiding one or two things about your father. Either your mother and father are related in some way, or she's hiding them for tax reasons because it's a money scam. Either way. I've done so many videos about these cultures that not only excuse the sexual abuse, they promote it, they're proud of it, they think it's funny. It's the whole family, both sides, cousins, uncles, brother, like it don't stop, and it's a big goddamn joke. You're not alone. I can't tell you how many of these I've done them. Whether it's Muslims in the UK or any of the Caribbean islands or in the Asian Pacific. The common denominator with these third world, they excuse and promote sexual abuse of their own family members. And it's a big joke. And it's really, really sad. And from what you're telling me, because I don't remember the first video I did, like I don't remember it specifically, but you running away, obviously. Again, you trying to go no contact a long time ago and didn't realize it. And didn't realize it. The best thing you can do, and what I would do, is I would make sure. Do I have, are my mother and father related? And they would be able to tell you that through a DNA test. Might actually even give you a racial breakup of what you have. If your father's Caucasian, it's like, not that it matters, because there's plenty of white people in Mexico. There's plenty of Caucasians, and they're called the offspring of conquistadors. It's the offspring of conquistadors that also don't acknowledge this in their third world countries, and then get the native Mexicans to come here illegally instead of addressing the cultural problems in their own country. They encourage them to come here and spread this. So, unfortunate and very sad, and unfortunately not the first time, not even uncommon. So, I really hope that helps. Thank you so much for your contribution and story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and expanding, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all of this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been The Narcissistic Resistance. Take care.